Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show being brought to you this evening by our friends up in Australia, Blue Shamrock Music, and our friend, Mr. Stephen Brady. And do we have a treat for you this evening? We are going to be meeting an artist who actually took 15 years off, and when he returned, he came up with some amazing music that we'll talk about. We'll find out about his musical journey, how he started. We'll find out about if he has any favorite artists, any funny things that happened along the way in his musical journey. This and much more. Now, let's go live and meet the one, the only, Mr. Jax Tonic. How are you, my friend?
Thanks, Russell. I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you going?
I am doing well. Well, we were talking off air, so I was a little jealous. I mean, you're in the beach right now near Sydney, Australia, and I'm up in our Niagara Falls studio. You know what the temperature is here today?
No
degrees.
Oh wow!
It's as cold as a refrigerator.
yeah. Well, mate, I'm pretty hot and sweaty. I just came from a gym class, and it's summer here, so yeah, it's the opposite to you guys. But hey, mate, I mean, you guys can just put on a jacket and get cozy, I guess, with a fire or something.
We need more than a fire. I mean, you put on your winter jacket, your winter hat, your gloves, the whole 9 yards just to stay warm. But, it's real nice. And, our radio station paid the heating bill this month. So we actually got some heat in the station this month.
Oh, well, that helps, mate. That definitely helps.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. And, as I mentioned to you off air, I had the opportunity to listen to your music. And I absolutely fell in love with the music. I just loved, I loved the sound, and I just loved everything about your music. So let's start our show. Can you maybe speak a little bit to our listeners about how your musical journey began and, where you are right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, from a child at school and, growing up, I just seemed to love getting involved in, the choir or bands and orchestras at school, and it just started at an early age. So I think I was really trying to get into it and trying to, play the guitar, even though I couldn't. just starting from that passion and watching other musicians playing. And as a youngster, I just sort of kept playing different instruments and more messing around with them and just playing, experimenting. And then I think it was probably round about the age of about 13, 14, where a couple of things happened. I went by chance with there was a Japanese exchange student at my school, and she invited me to go with her host family to a U2 concert. And so we went off to this entertainment centre in Sydney, and I sat there in the audience looking at U2 on stage with B.B. King playing the blues. And I think it was When Love Comes to Town tour. And just watching B.B. King playing the blues on top of U2's grunge rock, their rebellious political messages and just their attitude. Bono has just got huge attitude and a lot of meaning behind that. That's another story. But I just saw those guys and something clicked in me. And it all started from there. I think I'd already been listening to Elvis, Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison. I was listening to Dolly Parton a lot. My parents were just playing a lot of music. My dad played piano accordion, and my mum used to try to get up and sing and do stage shows in her country town of Forbes, inland. And they kind of had a little bit of showman in them, and I think that sort of came through the genetics, as it does with your kids. You sort of see your kids doing things that you do. And yeah, I just started at that stage, and then bang, the La Bamba movie came out, Richie Valens' story. That was it. I've actually got a photo on my Instagram of me sort of singing La Bamba in front of Richie Valens, with a picture of La Bamba when it first came out back in the 80s. And those things I was at the age of 14, and it just clicked. So my dad brought home by chance this guitar. He was a real estate agent, and some tenant had left an old guitar in a garage, and he was cleaning out the apartment, and he brought a guitar home with nylon strings, and that was it. I jumped at the timing that just came in right when I'd seen all of that, and I just strang it up. I started guitar lessons, and that was the early days, and it all just flowed from there, playing in bands throughout school, and then getting to now, well, there's a lot of in between, because I'm now 51. I released my first single at the age of 50 1 year ago in October. I've released 5 singles, and there's a lot of story in between.
So let's talk about your latest single. Your single talking about "On the Beach" where you are right now.
Yeah.
Can you maybe like talk to our listeners about, how does your songwriting come about? Is it based on feelings, experiences, or I know that some artists they actually have a computer with all the words, and then they just kind of like match the words to the beats of the music.
Yeah.
So two-part
Yeah.
question here for you: what does your songwriting look like, and what message are you trying to send out to the people that listen to your music?
Yeah. So it's a real natural process for me. You see this room behind me. I literally walk into this room. I grab that guitar. I got a Gibson J45 sitting there. Back in the day, it was an Ovation guitar, similar to what Bon Jovi used to use, an acoustic. But at the moment, I'm songwriting on the Gibson J45. And yeah, I walk into this room, I sit down, and I start coming up with a song. I start playing chords. I start making melody. I'm in the middle of a song at the moment. I've worked on it on and off for about a week, and it has no actual lyrics to it at the moment. So it's got words that I just come up with, and I record into a phone as I'm singing. But I create the melody first. I create the verse. I create the pre-chorus and the chorus, and all of those parts have to click and happen for me. Once the music's set in, then sometimes the lyrics come straight away. The chorus might come straight away, and then I can write around that. But for this song, it hasn't come straight away. So I've got to now work on the lyrics. So this will be a combination of going between this room and onto a computer and typing the lyrics as I go. Sometimes if I'm in a rush and it's flowing fast, I've got to get a pen and scribble. So it's just sitting there and listening. And I guess I've got to an age now where I can hear whether a melody line and a chord progression, whether those notes are hitting that main sounding melody notes, which make a hit song.
Awesome.
I'm getting there. I think I hear my songs are going all right. They're getting there, and my ears suggesting they're getting there, and I'm starting to get in the top 10 of the Australian national charts here, which is good for country music. Yeah. So that's the process. And I suggest to anyone, write however it works for you. If you've got to write a whole lot of lyrics and express yourself that way, then write them and then take that to music. I haven't really done that at this stage where I'm writing the lyrics first, but that could be an interesting way to do it for me as well. I don't know what I'd come up with from there, but the songs I've written so far are just literally sitting down and just letting the music come out and writing the lyrics.
That's awesome. So, as I mentioned, right, I've had the opportunity to listen to your music now. I love the country. It's kind of like a country style, right? And I really like it.
Yeah.
And I think I would consider you kind of like more modern country compared to old school country. So my question is, what do you think about country music today?
I just listen to country music radio all the time. I've got a 11-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son, and they just listen to country music radio as well, and a few of their little friends do too. To the point where when they hear the doof doof music, they want to change the channel. But I say no, listen to the dance music, listen to everything. It's important. Yeah, sorry, I've waved it off. But what was the question again? The contemporary, the modern music today. Look, I like it. I listen to it. I like a lot of the modern artists. I go towards a lot of lean towards a lot of them, like Eric Church and Jake Owen, Morgan Wallen, you know, Luke Bryan. I love all those guys in the States. I love there's Aussie guys as well here, you know, Troy Casadale, Lee Kernigan, modern ones like Andrew Swift and others that I love. And I kind of think the country music is really going great. It's really going strong. It's at a really good stage. You know, when you look at phenomenal artists, Carrie Underwood and beautiful voice singers beating it out, and you know, Hardy and just all these different artists. I think it's at a really good position, and I'm just so grateful at this stage to be part of it. I think that's probably the main thing, and to be writing songs that I can have fun with, and then merge them out into, you know, the same category as these other artists is just kind of mind blowing for me, really. You know.
That's awesome. And so let's talk about your musical journey now. If you can kind of like talk to our listeners about, you know, where the time where you actually took 15 years off. I guess my first question is,
Mm,
you're already in the music industry at that point before you took the 15 years out. So my first
yeah,
question is, what made you get away? Once you were in the music industry, what made you get away for 15 years?
yeah. So what I did is I came out of school. I loved music. I was gigging. Well, I went into a day job. I studied law through university.
Oh, right
um,
on.
I wasn't going to be a lawyer. I found it real dry, you know, and I sort of dropped out of that after about 3-4 years, and I just thought, this isn't for me. I always loved music, and I went towards music and started gigging in pubs and all around Australia, and I was playing 5 nights a week. And as I was doing that, I was writing songs, but I think my songwriting wasn't really at the level that it is today. In saying that, I have a song actually called Those Eyes, which I'm revamping at the moment and playing again, which I did write in those days. So I guess some of the songwriting was, but not all of it. You know, I was coming up with certain songs that were good, but I was doing a lot of gigs, and I was quite young and naive, and I just was gigging so much and sort of had pressure from, you know, what was going on around me to work a day job and make money and try to look after a family in the future and build wealth and things like that. So I was really immersed in the music, and I got to a point where I got offered a record deal. In those days, record companies were God. They decide whether you get in or out. They were the gatekeepers. These days, there's a bit of that going on, you know, jumping from community radio stations up to commercial and so on. There's always going to be a bit of gatekeeper action. But in those days, the gatekeeper was the record company. And the record deal that I got offered, it wasn't that great. And it was a bit biased. It wasn't really going to benefit myself. And I kind of thought, it got a little bit browned off with it, and sort of thought, you know what, I think I'm going to just try to get a day job and maybe take a break for a while. So I've left friends who were in the industry in 2007, and they went off and continued, and I left. But I got a day job. I actually do financial planning. I studied a master's in financial planning for 6 years and built a business, got married, 2 children, beautiful daughter, 11,
Oh,
beautiful son,
congratulations. Awesome.
9. Thank you so much. And I just got carried away with that. However, the guitar, and I bought the guitar back then off my friend who he continued on with the music industry. And that guitar just sat with me, and it stayed in the case in mint condition. And I'd always bring it out, and I'd keep writing. I'd keep writing songs, and you know, like I say, it was just like an umbilical cord with a baby, you know, attached to its mother. And I was attached to the music and the songwriting, and I just couldn't wean off it. So I kept going. I sort of had a good time with my day job and built my business and my life up to a certain point that I was turning 50 last year, and we went through COVID and lockdown and things like that. And just while I was working from home during lockdown, I really just got a lot of time to come across in spare time to my guitar and start writing. And as I wrote, people were telling me, who were listening to the songs, that the songs were pretty good. And, you know, I wrote Sitting Here on a Beach, the latest single that's been released, and the first three during that couple of years. On the Front Foot, which was my first release, Country Boy, which is a tribute to farmers, anyone on a farm and all the farmers out there and what they go through. Because I'm not a country boy. My mum was from Forbes, which is country, New South Wales, but my parents moved to the Northern Beaches when I was 6 years old, and I've been raised on the beaches. But funny enough, when I went to gigging and doing a covers show, I called myself the Duke Boy. The Duke's a hazard show, and I was called the Duke Boy with a J,
Oh, I
like it
love
was
that
musical.
show.
But my backdrop was a spray painted backdrop with an orange Kingswood, not the General Lee, but an orange Kingswood with an Australian flag on the top, not the Confederate, and it had like a spray painted picture of myself wildly holding a guitar with a bull skull on the end of it, and a really good looking girl with well endowed girl on the front bonnet.
Your wife's not
And
listening to this interview right now, is she?
it's funny, I met my wife just at the point where I was getting out of music, which was hilarious. So she's sort of seen me go into financial planning and studying and raising a family and doing all that stuff. She's seen me come back into it, but she's actually in my latest music video, Sitting Here on a Beach. That's my wife, and she's right behind me, and she's a great support. But yeah, that's what happened, and I guess I had that sort of 15-year break and just started writing again, and the songs were good enough to release. Started showing them to a couple of good producers. Found a great producer now, Rod Motby from Tracking Dog Studios here in Australia, and the guy, him and I have clicked. I just love working with him, and we're just producing this sound at the moment, and I think it's on track. And his kids can't stop listening to it. They're hooked on Sitting Here on the Beach. It's so funny. He sent me a video the other day, and his son's singing along to the song. It can't get it off his playlist. A tiny little kid, which is a good sign. And I just got to hear and started releasing. And that's so. At the end of the day, follow your dream, because you don't know whether you're going to actually start to live your dream at the age of 50, or whether you're going to live your dream when you think you're going to live it in your 20s,
I love hearing you say that because, in the music industry, a lot of people think, well, you have to be a certain age. And if you're not a certain age, you're not going to go too far in the music industry. And I disagree
Yeah,
with that
yeah,
statement. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you got the talent, you have the talent. And people are always looking for talent in the music industry. I
yeah,
know I used to work for Sony Records for a little bit as an AR, and I've been in radio pretty much my whole life, and I can tell you that in the music industry, they're always looking for new opportunities, new artists, and so I tip
yeah.
my hat to you. Taking 15 years off, coming back,
Mm.
and you're just like rocking the house, and I mean, your music has been amazing. What is the message though? So when people listen to your music, what is the message that you're sending out?
Yeah, there's definitely a message. If people actually bother to go through the whole 5 songs that I've released, there's definitely a message. And the message is that life is full of ups and downs. And if I can inspire someone to relate to my music, listen to the lyrics, or get a feeling from the song and relate it to what they're going through. I know this is a bit cliche, but if they do relate it to what they're going through, then you go to the next level where they actually apply it to their own situation. And then a third step is that they benefit or get something out of it, and it helps them to either get through what they're going through. Um, they're not the only ones, and and just, it can be as simple and as lighthearted as, the feeling of escaping from where you're at, going down the coast in a car, cruising down, turning up the radio, and putting your toes in the sand for that first moment, and just having that ice cold drink and looking at the water and the waves and just smelling the flowers. That, I suppose, that's what my music is. I want it to make people smell the flowers, just see the flowers, look at the plants that are around them when they walk out of their house or out of their office building or wherever they are, and they just go, you know what, that's what life's about, not the hustle and bustle.
I love that. That's awesome. How can our listeners get in contact with you, and how can they purchase your music?
Yeah, look, the easiest way, I've got my music out on all the streaming platforms. So they just look up Jax Tonic, Jax Tonic, like gin and tonic. And, they can go onto my website if they want to get in contact with me, jaxtonic.com. And you got YouTube links to my YouTube up the top channel. I've got 5 music videos on there, which, you can have some fun watching. I got Instagram, I got Facebook, and there's little links just straight off the top of the website. That's the easiest way. And all my gigs and my touring dates are on the website as well. I love doing gigs. I love getting out to local pubs and bowling clubs and, anywhere. And I'm, going to play Tamworth Country Music Festival as well in January, which I'm looking forward to, which is a big country music festival here in Australia. And I get to mix with a lot of other great artists, and say good day to them and meet the fans, That's
That's
the best
awesome.
part.
How
Yeah.
do you prepare for a show? So when you get ready to do like a huge show, as you just mentioned to us, how do you prepare for the show? And do you have any like pre-show rituals that you could share with us?
Yeah. I'm normally driving to a show, like even in Tamworth, I might be driving a short distance or something. I put on the radio and it's country radio. And I just hum and sing the melody without opening my mouth. And I find that a really great warm up. I'm just humming along, just doing that sort of stuff to the song. And that just widens and warms up my voice to the point that when I get there, I take a few deep breaths. I do a little prayer. I guess if I was going on with a band, I'd do a little group prayer or something like that. And then I'd get up on stage, take a deep breath, look at the audience and connect with them. Yeah.
How can you read an audience when you're on stage? How can you read an audience to see if they're really getting into your music? And if they're not, what are maybe some of the tricks you do to get them on board?
Well, when someone's done 5 nights a week, and I'm not kidding, 5 nights a week, when for 7 years, I know I took a 15-year break, but I did 5 nights a week gigs from, what was it? I think it was Wednesday to Sunday night. When you've done that many gigs, you just know how to read an audience. You know exactly whether to, which song to play, what dynamic to start it and open it up with. I used to have a couple of hundred people at Coogee Bay Hotel, which is a pretty big pub down at the beach here in Sydney. And it was about 200 people there. In those days, you're allowed to smoke cigarettes and you had lighters in these pubs. And, I'd be rocking out to, I don't know, Desire or something like that by U2. And then I'd have to bring it right down and play With or Without You, and they'd get their lighters up and start waving them in the sky sort of thing and doing that with just 200 people in a pub. So you learn how to read people when you're looking around and they know and they're almost communicating with you while you're singing. They're talking to you with their eyes as to what they need next. Do they need it up tempo? Do they need a break? But yeah, it's always hard when you come into a fresh crowd and you're just opening up, at a festival and they don't know you. That's an interesting thing. So I've had that experience where I was well known and people loved the Duke Boy and they couldn't wait for him to get on stage, to having a 15-year break, coming back as Jack's Tonic, and people not knowing me. So let me just say, it's been a crazy 12 months, getting to know all these people and reading them and connecting with them. But I'm lucky that I've had that experience before. That's for sure.
That's awesome. What is the funniest thing that ever happened to you in your musical career?
Oh, probably, it's probably so funny that I probably couldn't mention it.
So much for this being a family show.
Is it? This is rated G, isn't it, down there? But I don't
It
know.
may not
I
be after the
probably
show's over.
I've had some really interesting stuff happen. Like when people are drinking and you're playing songs that they love. Let's just say that sometimes they forget there's a guitar around your neck and they forget there's a microphone in front of you.
Oh, they're
I've
trying
had,
to do the
I've probably,
karaoke
I've
thing.
probably, I've probably had people jump on stage during some of those performances when they shouldn't have, and get taken down by the security guard. Yeah, I was a
If
lot younger then, anyway. So,
if you could change one thing in the musical industry, what would it be and why?
that's an easy one. That's really easy. It's got to be so we are artists, and it's all about our art and what we create. It's like it's the birth of that creation, and then the fact that it can actually resonate with people's ears. And when a song resonates with people's ears, there's got to be respect to that artist. And I don't believe there's enough respect given to some of the artists, particularly in the way, because I've come on board. I have a day job. I have a way of making money, but I'm also wanting to make money through the music industry and get paid for what I do and my art. And I feel that streaming, this streaming business, and I'm watching that Spotify documentary at the moment, and I just feel that the artist is not really receiving what they deserve to be receiving in regards to streaming. Back in the day, I used to have CDs for sale. I used to sell them for $20 at a gig, and that was gold. And people do that these days. People are avoiding streaming platforms and trying to sell their own CDs and send them out. But I feel that that's probably one of the things that needs to change. The fact that we're relying so much on merch sales, doing shows and selling tickets and things like that. Because for an emerging artist, that's pretty difficult. You've got to go backwards, and you've got to go backwards tens of thousands of dollars to produce songs, create music videos, and continue to do that and to get that out there. So you kind of need a little bit back. You need to be given a little bit in return. So I think that's the thing that should change. But I love the fact that there's record labels and companies out there who are gatekeeping a little bit and saying who's good and who's not, and all these people in the industry, they all fit together really nicely, but I think we need to address the streaming situation.
If you had an idea on how to do that, what would your idea be to make it better?
Yeah, I just think we find a body that a group that will represent the musicians. It needs to start from that, and then that group and that body needs to get us all to align and to all suggest that if things don't change, we're going to do something about it. So the body needs to pull together, and that body is the body of artists with representatives at the top trying to change that.
Awesome. What are some of the artists? I mean, during our interview, you've mentioned a series of different artists, but are there any particular artists that you look up to, and maybe someone you would love to open up a show for? Who would that artist be?
Talking from a young child, and my love from a young child, I would love to open up for Bono from U2. Talking in a modern day sense now, with the journey that I've been on, and how I've just become immersed into country music as well, it'd have to be Eric Church. I love Eric Church, and just think he's a master lyricist and a master songwriter. I've got to say there's a couple of other people there as well, but yeah, I'd love to open up for Eric Church. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, if it's not you and your musical, what you're doing right now in music, do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm near the beach, but I love kayaking. I go kayaking. I've got an Epic V9. Love going on that ski. Paddleboarding, stand-up paddling. I get the kids out, stand-up paddling. Windsurfing. I've been windsurfing since I was very young. So I love jump boarding and wave jumping. Been to Maui and done wave jumping out there, and all the surf beaches around Sydney and Australia. Some interesting water sports and hobbies in terms of country and stuff like that. I love horse riding.
That's awesome. Thank you for
But
sharing
yeah, I
that.
love my hobby. One of my hobbies as well is playing with my kids, playing in the yard. That's one of my hobbies.
That's probably the most important one right there, I bet, huh?
Yeah. Oh, my son is always asking me, Dad, let's go out and play basketball. Come on, I'm shooting hoops with him all the time.
Aw. Yeah,
Yeah.
family is definitely. I mean, that's one thing with the music industry and family. Sometimes there's always that disconnect because you're always on the road and everyone's pulling you every which way but loose. And so yeah, that's good. That you're grounded and spend time with the family. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
another question here for you. If so we're when people listen to our show, we have people watching right now, but we have a lot of people to watch afterwards as well. And a lot of the people in our audience are new, upcoming, aspiring artists. What is one thing you could share with them for them to maybe to try to get to where you are today?
Always remember, I would say, always remember that you are the artist and you are the reason why everything is happening. You're the reason. You're writing the songs. People are promoting you. People are signing you up. People are listening to your music, but you're the artist. So when you create that art, just remember that, and it will come out. It will be created in such an awesome way if you always remember the art. Don't do it for someone else who wants a sound or a certain sound. Don't do it because you're going to get more likes or fake likes that don't turn up to your gigs, because you pay for them or something. Just create the music that's true to yourself and find your sound, find what you love, and don't ever let go of doing that. Just like painting a picture, paint it the way you want to paint it, and keep developing your ears over time, because they will get better and better at hearing what is good and what isn't good, and just go for it. Don't ever let anybody stop your dream. As I said, I've turned 50, 51 now, and I'm not letting anybody stop my dream, apart from the fact I just got to know that when I get up on stage, I know I can sound good and I can do a really good job. And that if you can do that, be true to yourself and just do that and focus on that. Don't focus on all the other stuff.
That's awesome. And again, we are live right now on YouTube and LinkedIn, and it's the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show being brought to you by Blue Shamrock Music and our friend, Mr. Stephen Brady. And we thank him for each and every week. You can check us out here every Wednesday and Thursday. We're interviewing different artists courtesy of Blue Shamrock Music. And as we wind down our show this evening, my friend, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, just thank you. I just like to say thank you so much for just the welcoming way that, when you release music, the beautiful people that you meet along the way, such as yourselves, Russell, and just thank you so much for doing what you do. And thank you to these radio presenters like yourself. Thank you to all these people who work so hard behind the scenes, and to the listeners out there who are listening and supporting musicians and artists. We couldn't do it without you. We can't have a show without you. We wouldn't exist either without that reciprocation of, that beautiful relationship that we have with people. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate you and thank you for making music great. And one last time, if you can share with our listeners and the people who are watching live right now, can you share with our friends how can they get in contact with you and how can they purchase your music?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just jump onto the website jackstonic.com, and you can pretty much go onto the streaming platforms from there. And there's a link. There's a link there. Listen now, and you can hear songs. And please follow along. Follow Jack's Tonic on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you are, and support. And we'll build our way up, and we'll do some supports for Eric Church if he's out there listening.
Oh, you
Yeah,
never know. We get a lot of big time artists that listen, believe it or not.
awesome,
Yeah, we got a
awesome.
few emails along the way.
Give me a call. Give me a
I
call.
know. Hey, we might be able to make that happen for you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
love
thank you.
that.
It's so nice to meet you, my friend. And your music is absolutely amazing. I just know like people are watching now and who will be watching. And when they listen to your music, it's just that type of music you want to hear it over and over again. As I was prepping for the show earlier, I turned on your music. It's like I just have to keep on replaying those songs. It's like, you hear them, it's like, man, I gotta hear that song again. So
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
for
you
making
so
music
much,
great.
Russell.
Oh,
Really
you're more than
appreciate that,
welcome.
mate. Thank you.
And make sure you tell everybody about Music Dreams USA Radio. We're worldwide, and we play a great mix of music. And make sure you join me and my sidekick, Shauna Brown, who's another recording artist. And we are live Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's the Russell K, Alexa, and Shauna Brown Morning Show. Check us out. And on tomorrow's show, we are going to be paying special tribute to our friend right now, Mr. Jax um, Tonic. Yeah, that's right. We're
Tonic.
going to play some of his songs, which will open up the Russell K, Alexa, and Shauna morning show. So until then, my friend, you take care, be safe, and we'll catch you
You
on the
too.
flip side. All right.
Thanks, Russell. Thanks, and to all your listeners, take care, guys. Stay safe. Have a great Christmas.
Thank you. Again, another edition of the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show. Special thank you to Blue Shamrock Music, a record label up in Australia who supplies all of our artists. We thank those guys. A special thank you to Mr. Stephen Brady as well. Again, until the next show, happy holidays to you and yours. Be safe, and we'll see you soon. It's your friend Russell K with Music Dreams USA Radio, wishing you and yours a very pleasant good evening.